Plastic daisy beds still sang in the morning breeze, micro speakers stitched beneath the pedals, looping a syrupy jingle that promised a day of wonder under the big bright sun. The melody was warped now, rising and sagging as the speakers aged, but it never stopped, because the daisy beds never slept. The same residual current that animated the park's forgotten miracles animated the music. Each dawn, the sound drifted over the cracked tarmac, floated through rusted attractions, and finally found the cul-de-sac of crackerbox cottages we survivors called Midway Row. I woke inside one of those cottages the day the rules changed. Shafts of dusty gold slid through a skylight of shattered plexiglass, striping my brother Seth's face. He was 12 and oddly serene for a child who had never seen a true sunrise outside this tin carnival. He cracked an eye, heard the daisies singing their bent lullaby, and sighed like someone twice his age. The park had taught us all to exhale quietly. "Morning cue in 5, I whispered. No scowls, no slouching. He rolled over, muttering, "No freedom, no fun." But he sat up. He always sat up. The animatronics might be solar ghosts, but they could still aim their electrified batons if you ignored the morning cue. We joined the others outside in the weed-littered lane. Cole, ex-mechanic and unofficial mayor, carried the stamped tin tokens we used for rations. Nan trudged behind him, wiry gray hair pinned back with a yellow plastic ticket stub. Lark leaned against a picket fence, carving secret messages into a popsicle stick with a jagged screw. She barely nodded when Seth and I appeared. Cole raised 2 fingers, our daily salute to silence. Talking before the mascots finished their opening ceremony triggered Rule 3. A guest must not spoil the show. Sonia had violated Rule 3 last spring, asking where the bathrooms were, and the mascots fed her to the Tunnel of Terror. We never saw her again, though sometimes we thought we heard her screams mixed with the ride's canned effects. The mascots arrived exactly on the 8th chime of the old carousel. Their servo motors whined like cicadas. First came Ringmaster Rex, a towering mannequin with a velvet coat grown shiny as sealskin. He flourished an LED whip and bellowed, "Step right up, delightful guests." The recorded voice blared from a speaker in his jaw, but the mouth itself moved, gears clicking beneath latex lips. Behind him pranced Princess Carousel, a horsewoman hybrid whose metallic flanks reflected the ashy sky. Her eyes were pools of liquid crystal that tracked every tremor of disobedience. And finally, Clown Marshal Grin bounced forward on piston legs, twin spotlights flickering where his cheeks should have been. He carried the register slate, a glass tablet the size of a door panel. Rex gestured. "Attendance roll, smile inspection, token tithe." We shuffled into line. Smiling on demand can crack the soul, but we had learned to do it. The animatronics couldn't parse subtle expressions. They wanted broad, symmetrical grins. I stretched my lips. Seth copied me. Cole's smile looked like a wound stitched shut, but it passed. Nan's dentures clacked. Lark hid her teeth behind the popsicle stick and mimed a grin. Grin's optic sensors passed down the row, nodding approval, until they halted on Seth. His smile wavered, turning glassy. Grin emitted a clown horn blast. "Uh-oh, micro frown detected. Guest 4B violates cheer statute." "Cheerfulness is mandatory, for the sun is still shining," chirped Princess Carousel. Ringmaster Rex snapped his whip. A mini burst of static cracked in the air. "Correctionary ride time!" Seth's shoulders jerked. He started to protest, then remembered Rule 6. Guests speak only in rhymes. His mouth worked, but he couldn't find any couplets. 2 maintenance monkeys, Smaller, chimp-sized robots in pinstriped bellhop uniforms scuttled from the shadows, shackled Seth's wrists with soft polymer loops, and carted him toward the funhouse loop, a serpentine track of haunted mirrors and strobe lights that left most people vomiting and half-deaf. I took one step after him. Cole threw an arm across my chest. Movement alone could be construed as rebellion. I swallowed my scream, reshaped my lips into that dead grin again, and watched my brother vanish through the gaping clown mouth that marked the funhouse entrance. The mascots resumed their circuit. Tokens were collected, morning inspection ended, and the survivors dispersed like ants from a boot's shadow. Only when the mascot's footsteps faded did Cole release me. "He'll survive, Mira," he murmured. "They never let the funhouse kill children outright. Too low on the thrill index." "That doesn't reassure me." "It's the data we have." He pivoted toward our cottage cluster. "Come, work detail." I followed, but my mind was pulling blueprints from memory. A year earlier, Cole had shown me the park's faded schematics, trying to teach me how the old solar grid interlaced with ride circuits. Every animatronic, speaker, and light drew power from the big array hidden in the sun tower at the park's core. Back then, Cole had considered sabotage impossible. Even at 40% capacity, the grid had redundancies thicker than castle walls. But I was thinking of Seth, trapped on a bolting track amid strobe lights. An impossibility felt like a dare. We spent the morning harvesting condensing mist from the splash and dash water ride, coiling hose into cracked barrels, while waterproof speakers pumped out steel drum music. Nan hummed along, though the lyrics were lost in static. Lark dogged my heels. "You're plotting," she said, once Cole was out of earshot. "I'm remembering." "Remembering what?" "How many megajoules are stored in the reservoir capacitors?" "That's math. Math won't free your brother." "Energy freed us all once. I think it can again." Lark twirled her popsicle stick like a baton. "Cole will say it's futile." "I don't plan to ask permission." "Better. I hate committees." We agreed to meet after last light, when the park sank into its brown-out window. Residual solar energy dwindled during the night. Only critical animatronics stayed fully active, and their patrol radius narrowed while auxiliary units powered down. But plans are always monkeys juggling knives, liable to slice their own tails. In late afternoon, the mascots staged a surprise jubilee in the central plaza. Animated floats blared calliope tunes, while cotton candy cannons fired stale pink sugar. Seth emerged atop one float, his cheeks pale beneath sticky flecks, eyes watering from the funhouse. He was costumed as a puppet prince, limbs trussed in ribbons. I tried to catch his gaze, but Princess Carousel reared between us, projecting holographic sparkles. Through the haze, I saw my brother mouth one word: help. My heart hammered until the parade vanished behind screaming gates. As dusk thickened, I joined Lark near the cracked marble fountain of laughing dolphins. Cole's silhouette detached from shade, surprising both of us. "I hoped you two were conspiring," he said, offering a folded cloth. Inside lay a brass master key, stamped with a sunburst. Founded in the under-maintenance files years ago. It opens every service hatch within 200 meters of the sun tower. "You're in?" I asked. "I'm exhausted, Mira. Tired of ration lines, forced limericks, vanishings. Every equation ends with us extinct or enslaved. Your brother's arrest tips the scale." Nan appeared too, panting. "If you children plan mischief, I'll knit myself in." "I thought you'd say we were crazy," Lark said. "Of course you're crazy," Nan replied. "Reasonable folk died first. What time?" "Brownout," Cole answered. We've 30 minutes before the mascots start their moonlight review. That's our gap. We crept along abandoned service corridors, plastered with sun-bleached posters, promising infinite joy. The brass key silenced many locks. Behind one metal door, we discovered rows of plush giraffes, still packed in cellophane, eyes forever surprised at never reaching prize counters. Behind another, we found the skeleton of a teenager wearing a balloon vendor's vest. He had hanged himself with the ribbon of a smiley-face balloon. Lark closed the door quietly. Dust deepened until breathing felt like drowning in feathers. Finally, we reached the Sun Tower's sub-basement, a cylindrical room lined in copper bus bars and inverter cabinets. A single robot, a maintenance jester missing its head, knelt on the floor like a praying penitent, charger cable coiled through its neck stump. It ignored us. Cole tapped a wall panel, exposing a server rack. Central Control Cluster, Carnival OS. We shut this down. The whole park sleeps. Long enough to free Seth? I asked. I think so. Lark fished a screwdriver from her boot. Give me 2 minutes. But Nan held up a brittle hand. Listen. Footsteps above, heavy and uneven. Ringmaster Rex descending. His optics probably traced the key's movement. Everything left fingerprints of heat. Cole slammed the panel, motioning us behind a bank of capacitors. We crouched as Rex clanked into the chamber, LED whip hissing. In the gloom, his coat glowed a faint arterial red where internal diodes pulsed. Unauthorized presence, his voice boomed. Reveal yourselves and enjoy complimentary popcorn privileges. He pivoted, scanning. My pulse felt like white noise in my ears. Lark tightened her grip on the screwdriver, but Cole shook his head. A strike on Rex's armor would be suicide. The jester stirred, sudden and spasmodic. It rose, charger line dangling, spinning like a compass seeking north. Then it lurched toward Rex, squealing erratically, arms jerking wires. Perhaps the headless unit's sensor loop had shorted. Perhaps some random pattern in its corrosion birthed aggression. Either way, it collided with the ringmaster. Rex stumbled, servo ankles tangling with cable. Both animatronics crashed against a support pillar. A safety breaker sparked, plunging the sub-basement lights to emergency dim red. Now! Cole hissed. We dashed to the server rack. Lark popped the cover and began yanking SATA cables like entrails. Cole shoved a crowbar into the main breaker and heaved. The buzz of inverters sputtered, then died. I felt the floor hum fade, as though a colossal throat stopped singing. An alarm whooped, but only twice before silence gulped it. I pictured every mascot pausing mid-dance, lacking voice or directive. Outside, fireworks would freeze mid-burst, pigmented sparks falling as cold slag. We sprinted back through corridors, guided by emergency pathlights that ran on separate batteries. The park was eerily quiet, except for metallic echo of our shoes. Near the funhouse entrance, we found a pile of scaffolds still wet with polymer loops. Seth's restraints. But no Seth. Panic cinched my ribs. He could be backstage, Nan reasoned. We entered the funhouse without lights, forcing our way through padded doors. Mirrors waited like liquid ghosts. Each reflected our red night vision glows, distorting shapes into ghouls. Lark whistled. Seth! It's Lark, Mira, Cole, Nan! Show yourself! A small voice answered between mirror corridors. Here! He emerged limping, still wearing ribbons. I hugged him and felt his spine trembling. I thought you were gone, he choked. No more funhouse, I said, kissing his tangled hair. No more mascots either, at least for a while. Let's haul tail. We reassembled by the fountain. The Daisy's jingle was gone. Their petals rested like ears finally lowered. Survivors stumbled from cottages, dazed. Some cried at the sudden hush penetrating decades of forced entertainment. Without the audio glaze, wind became audible again, rattling sunburnt banners. Cole mounted the dry fountain lip. "Power is out. We did it," he announced. "Rex may reboot on backup soon, but we have time. Gather essentials. We're leaving the park while the gate locks are compromised." A murmur rose. Fear, disbelief, hope. For many, the world outside walls was myth. They'd been born under carnival skies. They knew cotton candy rain and roller coaster thunder, not mountains, not oceans. I had glimpsed the real sky once as a child, blue and open, above the evacuation convoy that abandoned us here. That memory tugged now like a moth to sunrise. We stuffed packs with water bladders, first aid kits, solar blankets scavenged from gift shops. Nan insisted on bringing a bag of novelty snow globes. For barter, she winked. Seth changed into plain clothes pilfered from Costume Castle, shedding the puppet colors. His eyes adjusted from fear to wonder. Before we marched, I returned alone to the Sun Tower. I needed confirmation. Inside, emergency lamps flickered. The headless jester lay motionless. Ringmaster Rex, however, was gone. Drag marks traced across dust toward an auxiliary stairwell. He had presumably crawled to another power tap. The breaker I'd seen earlier had replaced only primary lines. Several micro-arrays roosted on ride roofs, still sipping starlight and moon reflections, trickling electrons. Rex could reboot within hours, maybe minutes. At the server rack, LEDs blinked weakly, drawing from battery banks we had overlooked. On a cracked monitor, the Carnival OS typed to itself, "System error, guest satisfaction, index critical rebooting smile. Protocols, YN." I punched the keyboard. N. The cursor froze. Then another line appeared. "Human input detected. Would you like to play a game?" I unplugged the monitor cable and smashed the screen with Cole's crowbar. Glass fell like frosted cereal. Then I pulled every visible fuse, crushed relay plates, and jammed the crowbar through the cooling fan until metal squealed. Sparks rained, but no flame caught. The room had fire-retardant foam. Footsteps behind. Cole. "They're waiting," he said. "You done?" "As I'll ever be." We strode to the main concourse. Survivors, 5 dozen of them, clustered in ragged lines. Seth waved from the front, holding Nan's hand. Lark had painted a crude arrow over the archway. This way to reality. The main gate's animatronic ticket takers dangled limply, neck pistons slack, turnstiles locked in reverse, but Cole's brass key freed them. We spilled into the outer courtyard, where grass had grown ankle-high through shattered flagstones. Overhead, stars glimmered pale. The dome of smog that once hid them must have thinned. No alarms, no clown horns. Wind brushed our cheeks, smelling of distant pines. Yet, as we crossed the final parking lot barricade, I heard a faint calliope wheeze. I turned. In the tower's top window, a single spotlight flickered, sweeping weakly, searching for lost guests. Carnival was coughing back to life. Seth tugged my sleeve. "Will it follow?" "Not if we keep moving," I said, but I wasn't certain. Solar cells recharged every dawn. The mascots might drag themselves through fractured systems until sunrise filled their batteries. They might crawl out of the gates one day, trailing extension cords like luminous intestines, still chanting rules. We marched east, toward Black Hills, guided by Nan's compass pendant. The theme park shrank behind us, a silhouette of roller coaster ribs and Ferris wheel halos against night. Quiet settled, heavy and blessed. After an hour, we reached an overpass littered with abandoned cars. Seth climbed a hatchback's roof and stared west. I climbed after him. "What do you see?" I asked. He searched the horizon. "Lightning bugs," he whispered. I followed his gaze. Tiny emerald sparks flitted above weeds, true insects, not LED fireworks. The sight felt holy. Seth's eyes glowed and reflected green. He whispered, "They're free. So are we." Below, the others rested, drinking water under star shards. Lark was teaching two younger kids how to flick popsicle sticks, like throwing knives. Cole inspected the brass key one last time, then tossed it off the bridge. It twinkled, lost among asphalt shards. Nan raised a snow globe, shaking it. Artificial flakes spun around a miniature carousel, then settled amid plastic trees. "World in your palm," she mused, "but real life is the snow outside, isn't it?" A sudden thrum rolled across the plain, the oldest noise of all, thunder. Clouds gathered, wide and wet. No animatronic could script the weather anymore. The first drops pattered hot, on rusted metal, on our faces, on sunflower seeds sprouting where popcorn once ruled. We tilted heads back, mouths open, tasting rain not recycled through splash rides. Seth laughed, genuine and wordless, no rhymes required. And somewhere behind us, far beyond earshot by then, plastic daisies began to recharge, petals twitching with captured lightning. Perhaps at dawn they would sing again, beckoning guests that would never come. But we were already another memory slipping beyond the carnival's grasp, walking into a storm that felt like a real beginning. The law of the midway had been bright smile or die. The law of the world beyond was not yet written, and that was the greatest ride any of us could imagine.